celebrating 12 years of possibility. Pilot Flying J and Halloran Hilton Hill present Anything is Possible. Today's guest, Randy Tyree.
This is Anything is Possible. I'm Halloran Hilton Hill, and these are great stories about great people whose lives prove that anything is possible. Former Mayor of Knoxville, Randy Tyree, is here today. Randy, thank you for being here.
Halloran, pleasure.
Let's go back to Smith County. There's Carthage and there's Gordonsville.
Right.
Did I say it properly?
You got it.
It's Gordonsville, but you have to say it Gornsville.
Yeah, you got to put Gorn on the front end.
You
like
grew
Norville,
up.
like Norville.
You grew up in Smith County, Tennessee. Take us back there. What was it like living there?
Very small community. For example, Gornsville was had a population of 320. We had two schools, Gornsville High School and Carthage High School. And I went to school. Well, actually, I attended Watertown High School, which was in 3 counties. We lived on farms in 3 different counties, and Dad was he was not a tenant farmer. He was not a sharecropper, but he would pay money rent for, and that way he was independent, and he didn't want people telling him how to grow tobacco and things of that nature. So it was sort of like a small community and just a.
Did you work the farm?
Oh yes. You
cut tobacco?
Cut tobacco, stripped tobacco, milked cows, done all those normal things.
Mayor Randy Tyree milked cows?
As a matter of fact, paid off later on, because the 8 years I was mayor, every single year at the fair I won the cow milking contest. So there's a lesson in that you do things when you grow up that you maintain later on.
Now I understand, it is my understanding that you were a running back, that you played high school football.
I did.
That there was a big rivalry in this Smith County, and you were a star running back. Take us back to those days.
Well, and I've really gotten, I went from all conference to all American in the last 25 years or so, but it was sort of like football was that's where I first had an appreciation for how much can be accomplished when you've got a team.
Right.
Operating versus an individual just trying to, solve the problems of the world. But we did win we played in 2 conferences, Cumberland Valley Conference and Upper Cumberland Conference, and we won the Upper Cumberland Conference. And I had the honor of being selected as an all-conference in both conferences. So that was the beginning of my understanding, I guess it is, how important team efforts are.
You grew up kind of, though, as a loner, the youngest of 5. It was you and your dog. What was your dog's name?
Truman.
Truman,
yeah.
How did the dog get that name?
Dad named him because he was a fan of Harry Truman, who was president.
Wow.
So that was, I was the 5th born child. And my 2 older brothers and 2 older sisters, by the time I was 7 years of age, they had all left home, gone into service or whatever. So from the time I was 7 until I was 11 years, until I was 18 and left home to go to work, that was the urban or the rural kind of area that we lived in. No close neighbors. My closest buddy that would ride bicycles every once in a while and get together was actually 4.5 miles away. So the school and team sports, I think,
opened you up to the rest of the world. But you spent a lot of time then by yourself with the dog.
I did.
And you, even now to this day, you love to camp, you love to hike, you love to be outdoors. But I remember you were doing a journal, you were journaling. Did you hike the AT?
No, but what you're referencing was I've always been a backpacking fan, and one of the things I did was I guess the first time was about 1995, but I took it was 118 excuse me, 118 miles that I did a backpacking trip. And I went to each one of those farms, talked to the folks that still live there, et cetera, that I had lived on growing up. So it was sort of like a lot of that came from my background of fishing and hunting and trapping out in the farmlands.
Let's take a break. When we come back, you rise from Smith County to become mayor of Knoxville during the World's Fair, a time of great possibility. Randy Tyree is my guest. You're watching Anything is Possible.
Possibility powered by Pilot Flying J, Covenant Health, Home Federal, and the Knoxville News Sentinel. Coming up.
It was the absolute beauty of a community realizing its potential and coming together to make something happen instead of keeping something from happening.
Welcome back to Anything is Possible. I'm Halloran Hilton Hill, and this is the legendary Randy Tyree. Your story is one of amazing possibility because you come from an incredibly small town. You're a small town guy. You have big dreams. You've always been a person who believed in possibility. You go to college. You go into law enforcement. You had a stint with the FBI. And then you become mayor of Knoxville during one of the most dynamic times in the history of this city, the World's Fair.
Yeah.
How do we go from a population of 300 plus to being mayor of the city of Knoxville as a Democrat?
A little bit unusual in many respects, but family, community support, family support, just the belief that I truly do not feel like that I'm in any respect special. But to me, what is really special is the fact that I have grown up in America where anything is possible. And, you know, that this is one reason that I suppose the most aggravating thing to me is run into people that are cynics, that are down on everybody and everything about the country and criticizing, et cetera. And it's just so wrong for that kind of thing to be happening. So it's a journey, and you take it with your first step, obviously, but at the end of the day, it really ain't about you. It's about everybody else that has gotten you, in effect made you become that turtle on the fence post because you didn't get there by yourself.
But when did you make the decision, I'm going to run for mayor? Because you ran against a very popular incumbent mayor. In fact, my understanding of the history of all of this is that nobody thought you had a chance to win, let alone be reelected. And when did you make that decision? When did you go, I need to be, I want to be, I feel called to be mayor of the city of Knoxville?
Well, admittedly, I was an underdog, but I tell you, Halloran, something I found out, you know, people like winners, but they love underdogs that become winners. And, you know, I have always been able to, with a lot of people's help, family and friends, et cetera, be able to succeed at whatever I attempted to do. And my decision to run for mayor was basically it was a hunch, it was a gut feeling.
Did something happen?
It was a combination of things. First of all, I had a real investment in the community because I'd walked the streets here as a police officer. I had been commissioner of fire and police. We did Operation Aquarius, which was the first money-buy undercover operation in the state of Tennessee. So I had a community background, and I've been involved in the community with various and sundry social organizations. But the decision to run for mayor, in a nutshell, it was I knew from deep down that the fire was in the belly, that this community had the potential, and I wanted to be a part of it.
So you get elected mayor. How many votes did you win by?
0.007 1,000th, but that was okay because my background as a police officer, it was 007, so I thought that was probably a good omen. But it was actually that still holds the record for voter turnout because there were over 50,000 voters voted in the city of Knoxville, which was approaching about 65% of the registered voters.
So you win and you become mayor of Knoxville, and you know, as you go into office, we're getting to that time where Knoxville is about to think about doing the World's Fair, a world exposition here in Knoxville, and there were a lot of people who said that's impossible. You thought it was possible. A very famous name, Jake Butcher, and his brother, CH, they thought it was possible.
Right.
And you guys kind of got together. How did we give birth to the World's Fair?
It was the absolute beauty of a community realizing its potential and coming together to make something happen instead of keeping something from happening. Now, the idea for a World's Fair actually originated in the Testament administration in 1974. So when I got elected mayor, it wasn't my idea. It was already on my desk when I walked in that first day. And the first thing I did was at that point they were talking about having an exposition in 1980. That gave me a little bit of hesitancy because you simply, from 76 to 84 years for an event like that, didn't make a whole lot of sense. Anyway, the community came together, Democrats, Republicans. There was 3 presidential administrations that made it a part of us, part of the process. It was so dynamic the way the community really came together, and the irony of it all was the fact that probably in the last 6 months, when it was obvious we were going to succeed, none other than Kaz Walker got behind the World's Fair, and it was a pretty neat quote because Kaz was asked, obviously, you fought this thing up until now, and he made the comment. He said, "Look, they're talking about 11, 12 million people coming here." He said, "I don't care, but if there's not but 3 million come," said, "they're going to have to buy a lot of groceries." And that was his business. So it was sort of like the icons of the past, the workers of the present and the future individuals were all together in unity to make that happen.
You were a popular mayor. The World's Fair came and it went. You served 2 terms in office. There was a big scandal with the Butcher brothers.
Right.
How is it that their savings and loan debacle and scandal hurt a lot of people? They ended up having to leave Knoxville. How did you come out of that unscathed? Were you connected to them? Was there any connective tissue between you and the Butcher brothers?
There were. We were friends. We were political allies. We had known each other for years and years before I ever got into, the political arena. But keep in mind now that the failure of the United American Bank occurred in 1983. That was my last year in office. Now, looking at the historical significance of the timing of it, it was pretty well a known fact 6, 8, maybe a year before that there was a big trouble in the bank. And my sense of it was that the Butcher family, notwithstanding their downside that they had, they brought a real elevated kind of community to us in terms, particularly the banking community. And a lot of what they left, Chris Whittle is another individual that had a tough time with it for a while, but right now there are tons of people that are in the community from both the United American Bank and the Whittle organization that are strong assets to our community.
Randy Tyree is my guest. We'll be back. You're watching Anything is Possible.
Coming up,
Power to me means a higher power. Influence, though, we all have it to one degree or of another.
This week, our Home Federal Bank Community Spotlight is on the Salvation Army. Did you know that the Salvation Army has been transforming lives one at a time in Knoxville since 1899, and in the past year alone has served more than 30,000 people? To learn more, visit salvationarmy.org.
Welcome back to Anything is Possible. My guest today is Randy Tyree, former mayor of the city of Knoxville, and you've run for sheriff, you've run for governor. You know what I wanted to ask you? What have you learned about possibility, and do you miss the power?
I do not. I miss the influence, because power denotes to me a excuse me, a very different kind of a power. To me means a higher power. Influence, though, we all have it to one degree or of another. We all have value, and you know, there's not, when you're in office, if you have an appreciation of where your influence comes from, that's from the people that put you there, and you maintain all of your lifestyle around that and all the efforts that you make in public service, then it weighs itself out.
Where did you get this hunger for public service?
I think it came from the community I grew up in, the value system, because in growing up in a rural area, for example, you know, socials were, everybody helped everybody else.
Right.
You know, we stripped tobacco, everybody helped out. We did not badmouth other people. We weren't always criticizing people, because you might need them to help you out.
Some other day.
Some other day. And so it's sort of like you just, if you have a servant's heart, you develop that very early in life, in my opinion.
What do you want to say today? What do you want to communicate? What do you want us to know about Randy Tyree? The guy that I've known through the years, you've always had a very winsome personality. You're a dashing man. You still have hair. I don't even have hair anymore. People really seem to like you. You have a very gracious way that you go about your life. You have been mayor of this city. You've been plugged in as an attorney. You've done a lot of things, but I don't know that I know you. I don't know what moves your heart. So I wanted to ask you, what do you want to say?
Number one, I'm blessed, because I attribute everything that has occurred to me to my faith. Now, it's difficult to always put into words, and I'm a private kind of individual, and when it comes to faith and family and, you know, personal, I'm sort of in a man cave, I guess, about those kinds of things. But if you don't have an abiding faith, that hope really does spring eternal, then it's pretty tough. I would think it would be pretty tough. But to me, there's a way, if you commit yourself and you maintain a philosophy of the power of positive thinking, that you can move things along. So again, as I said earlier, I don't consider myself a special case. I consider where I've grown up, the family I've had, the communities I've lived in, and America in generally, it's what gave me the opportunities.
When you look back on your life, what do you think is your single greatest accomplishment in terms of, this was something that I thought was impossible and it became possible and it was bigger and better than I ever thought it would be? What's your single greatest accomplishment?
I think it would be it would be maintaining, and we have 4 children, and I think family-wise that when I was a bachelor until I was 30 years of age, and I never dreamed about it when I was going through getting my education and being a policeman and all that, never dreamed that I would wind up married with 4 kids. But it's been a beautiful journey in that regard, and we're blessed to have the 4 healthy kids that we have. But in terms of, I don't relate really to nearly as much of a me situation as I do a total big picture of a us kind of situation.
In the last 60 seconds that we have here, would you give me some advice on living a great life and maximizing the possibility of my life? You take me under your tutelage for 40 seconds.
Well, it should be in reverse, Halloran, but I'll tell you this. Be true to yourself, number 1. And number 2, don't ever doubt that there's not a higher player in the universe, and basically maintaining a faith. So it's sort of like the best that can come out of anybody at the end of the day. You know, when we kick the old bucket, people are not going to remember how much money you made or what kind of glamour that you were involved in, etc. They're going to say, did he make a difference? And if you've made a difference, which you have, and I hope I have, you're okay.
Randy Tyree, thanks for being on the broadcast.
My pleasure.
We'll see you next time.